First of all, I just want to say thank you, God. Um, I have to be thankful, but at the same time, I gotta be asking God to give me strength. Um, Thankful for what? I'm thankful that I didn't grow up living a life where I'm a contracted bottom feeder for these top level security entities. You know, they use this fucking trash, these losers that even come up with a fantasized reality. I know what's happening to me is just unfortunately I'm a test subject. They are developing weapon system and using human beings as guinea pigs. They contract these loseries of human beings, this trash. They're not even in any importance. They even up. They try to implant importance and grandeur into what they are. They're just losers. You know, one thing is for sure is they really psychologically try to break you down, and this is what this weapon system can do. It takes over your thought process, your mind, and destroys your body. And they contract these losers to implement these things. Now you clearly know that these people are just contracted, not even, and probably the contraction in a sense is not even directly, it's not even directly contracted by these governmental entities. They probably have like third parties that contract. Like it's just such a different a buffer between the people in charge and these losers of human being. But the way they just kind of paint themselves as is like, oh, it's war. We're fucking trash contracted by these governmental entities to implement these tactics to us for the purpose of developing this weapon system. They use this child like retards. For me, I'm like, the day we get to see each other, which I look forward to, that moment you realize that you're just an unimpressive loser that found empowerment in this. Nasty shit. But there they come, and some of them have experienced death while doing things to me. So I know it's just a matter of time. These losers, that's why I'm thankful for, to not be one of them. You know, I deal with like very childlike shit. These losers will just leave off how I'm gonna be tortured by these fucking bottom feeders. Get there. Some of them are suicidal. Some of them are delusional. Some of them are just childlike retard, where reality will come to them and shit. But not today. Yesterday I was making a video about, you know, the typical ways of them manipulating my brain, these pedophilia-centric ways. They have these tactics that are so pedophilia-centric. Somebody was talking about oral sex. They started making me imagine a child doing that to me. It was so nasty. And you hear this fucking child like trash who's supposed to make me accepting of this manipulation. Tell me, no, we just mapped that. Fucking trash. I will never let them live the fantasy. But yesterday was crazy because, you know, it became a whole mental. They use perceptions as tactics. Listen, what with me, how they've been trying to create this fantasized reality is using a facade. They think that gender changes reality. They think that coming from people who are of women gender change the reality of what this program is about. I don't know how stupid they want me to be. And so they can play with my perceptions. They control my thought process are just so rewired. Now, I'm not stupid I literally was in a video called TI Day 2020. I'm saying that this is happening to men, women, and children. Then you hear women all around the world talking about how they're being tortured. So you clearly know that this is happening to men, women, and children. These perps are at war with children, are at war with women, and these are low-life bottom feeders. The truth, they're not at war with anybody. There's some loser shit, opportunists that live life just rewiring the human brain, living that fantasized reality they put together, in truth working for actual entities feel pedophilia, issue pedophilia. It was so disgusting. To go through what Operation Flicker came up with, it was old stuff too. The scary part is, in 2018, what you're seeing that just shows that it got even worse. I was going through this paperwork that these inspectors of the Department of Defense, I think, I'm not sure, and you know, it's like the government documentation, so there's a lot of redacted names and whatnot. You hear the stories. Oh, this guy from NRO found child porn in his work computer. This guy from this DOD agency or whatever fund some child porn on this thing, over and over and over. This is in the 2007-ish. This guy in DARPA in 2003 got child porn on his, a project manager, by the way, child porn on his computer, work computer, of course. A suspicion of child porn. Nothing happened. All that documented, redacted name and everything. That was before 2018, and in 2018, finding out that according to this agency specializing in child pornography, specializing in child protective services, saying this peer-to-peer network, reviewing all the network in the United States, claiming that, calling our ranking that DOD was the top tier child porn traffickers, ranking a high level, consistently ranking high. Consistently, that's the key word. Not only once or twice, no, this ranking is consistent. Consistently getting ranked for having a lot of child porn. Years later, after this Operation Flicker, these people are a pedophilia's magical extravaganza. And so when I see this unimpressive low life that they contracted to implement these things, I know how nothing they are. They're just trash. It doesn't take much. Matter of fact, you have to minimize yourself. It takes less than you to do what they do. You have to minimize. You have to really stoop to a level of lower. So those who are already low, perfect, they love this. So those who are not, hey, you better fucking stoop up. And there's some really low life bottom feeders. There are some childlike people that I know they are just so childish and low life, just nothingness. No wonder they don't want to be seen. Truly nothings. No self. They're like, okay, by self-respect, making themselves talk in this way. No life. It's no life. It's your grown-ass men saying these things. And they interact with me via V2K. I know they're supposed to agitate me, but I'm like, you are just a sad, pathetic, low life. You know you live life, right? This is you alive with the opportunity to live any life. But you choose to live a life where you don't respect yourself to the point where you can be saying, no life. To counter the things I say. They use these ways of countering what you're saying in like childish ways. And they use this voice-to-score technology to do that. Even with this technology that can bring mistakeness into the way they interact with you. Voice-to-score is this weapon system, where used as a weapon system at least, where they can project voices in your brain. In wars, they've in the past used this as like, okay, we're gonna tell the enemy we're gods, and we're, for example, I think there was an example saying that in the Gulf War, the U.S. government, the U.S. Army was saying that, oh, we're Allah, and as Allah, we're telling you to drop your weapons and surrender yourself, and that will happen because they will think that, oh my gosh, Allah is talking to us. It's a sign from God. Let's drop the weapons and do that. So they're supposed to sound mistakeful. They sound like children. They sound like, and they're not children. It's like adults acting like children. But they still want to bring the mistakeness. So they're so unimpressive that even with this technology that's supposed to make them sound so mistakeful, they're so childlike that you can't even get to that point. So imagine when you see them in person, you are shocked by how unimpressive these people are. You are shocked by how like nothings they are. You are shocked that these shits really are nothings. Using this technology, they were talking to you as if they were gods, but they even sounded like retards. In person, you're like, oh Jesus, oh my goodness, you, my goodness, you should be oh my gosh. Just clowns and child like oh my gosh. Living this fantasy, you're like, oh my gosh, you're such a loser. You're such a true loser. And the fact that they manipulate your brain in these pedophilia-centric ways, but the humiliating reality, you go through this document and you see these people, oh, now this person caught with child porn, this person, oh, national, it was a National Reconnaissance Organization or something, NRO, another very sophisticated, like, agency in the Department of Defense, specializing in very high-tech technology. Oh, child porn there too. You see these people, it's like, yeah, you guys are protecting children, and it's child security. Clowns, humiliated by reality, and then finding out that this actually got only worse. The old stuff was not even as bad as how bad as it is today. Today is so bad that they don't even catch them doing like this investigation. When they just do an overall ranking and say, where is this child porn coming from? Oh, these entities are downloading so much child porn that they're being recognized by people who review the child porn issues in the world, in the country. Recognizing, oh, this DOD entities, this network, top tier child porn traffickers. This low life, live life, rewind the brain, these pedophilia ways. And they use these childlike people who don't care. Okay, yeah, I work for top tier child porn traffickers. Black girls, stimulate me. They see that's the life of a fucking loser. But in his mind, that's how he wins. Like you're just a trash. You just don't respect yourself. That's how you lose for real. You're a loser who just gave up self-respect. There is no coming back from that. And I love the fact that they don't care. I was like, yes, please don't. Because I know the reality. I'm done. The government's destroyed me. Sure, I think this retarded childlike person destroyed me? This is nothing. She's a nothing. It's a childlike retard. Can't even struggle to say Roy Moore. What the fuck can this do? This low life can do to me? Yesterday was bad because they still trying to create this facade. And because they do foul things to people. They want to make it sound like, because we're of the female gender, it's different. It's our research. We're women. We're fierce. It's so disgusting. They have destroyed. They have completely hijacked what feminism is. They think that being a woman changed reality. They think that them being female gender allows them to do this foulness. Allows them to participate in this horror that destroy a lot of women, by the way. A lot of women. They're fucking disgusting. And they play off perceptions. But it's stupidity. Of course I know these entities are filled with men and women. I know that this woman who literally, there's a lot of females involved in this. There's a woman who say her cousin works for the Department of Defense. And she's like, when she told her cousin, hey, I'm in this program, she's like, oh, you're on your own. It's her. She knows there's a lot of women. She's a woman involved in this program, involved in this entity, and she knows, oh yeah, we torture a lot of women. Oh, but with you, a feminist, you're fucking trash. And so, one entity that's for sure involved. Now, the Department of Defense is the one running this program. For sure, the financial abilities of the Department of Defense, there's no organization that is as powerful and as able financially to do what's happening by the Department of Defense. The Department of Defense is the most powerful entity in the world. DARPA is right under the Department of Defense. They report to the Department of Defense. The director of DARPA reports directly to the leaders of the Department of Defense. Directly. You know when you like look at the hierarchy of like people, you'll see the director of DARPA reports to the Department of Defense head. Directly. They get their funding from the Department of Defense. They get all of that they are an agency right under the Department of Defense. Out of all these entities, there's different like military thing. There's a lot of bureaucracy. But when it comes to DARPA, directly, straight up, talking to the lead of the Department of Defense. Straight up. I'm not sure who appoints the directors, but it seems like the director of DARPA are people who've been in DARPA for a while. They've been project managers, they've been doing things like that. They've been in the environment for a while, and then they become appointed to be director. I don't know if the Department of Defense leader appoints that. I'm not sure. The current director of DARPA is a woman. Let me give you the current is this woman here. She just got appointed in 2024. I think the one below here was the prior, and then this man was before. Now, do you know they try to say, you see, she's a woman, so it's our money. They're retarded. They're so retarded. They think, oh, DARPA, the director is a woman. By the way, when I started dealing with this like sophisticated weapons apply onto me in 2019, this is the guy who's in charge. Now I know this is let it be a man or woman, a transgender, whatever it is. DARPA is DARPA. They do this because they have goals. I should think that now they're feminism because the current director of the DARPA is like a woman. What? So why is there still a lot of women being tortured, you fucking idiots? They want me to think in these ways. This is how stupid it gets. So in 3 years from now, if it's a man, are you guys no longer? They play with perception in this retarded way because DARPA is definitely involved in this. DARPA is this agent that specializes in the development of the weapon system. Now, there is only about 200 people in DARPA. It's not a big agency in the sense of numbers. It's big in the sense of what they do. They are working and developing the most sophisticated weapon system. Now, obviously, DOD are the one who fund this. They're the one who give the green lights of things. The Department of Defense are the umbrella DARPA is under. So when they contract these losers, it's most likely that they are contracted by the Department of Defense. But what technology they're using is the technology coming from DARPA. And obviously, we're talking about also some intelligence community involved because we know CIA started working on this mind control things for a long time. So I'm sure they take some of that, and a lot of that, those entities work within each other. For example, NRO. NRO works with DOD and CIA. They have both kind of clearance. They're all like meshed together. When it comes to this technology, for sure DARPA is involved. When it comes to the implementation and contracting these losers that are at war, for sure DOD is the one funding. That's where the money's coming from. When it comes to the tactics, for sure the intelligence community is involved. All these entities all have issue with pedophilia, by the way, big time. And all this clearly shows that the manipulation of the brain has been the same systematically. For me, they can play with the perceptions. That now I'm looking at this woman and I'm supposed to think, you see, she looks like a decent person. What? You're an idiot. You think by the way, this woman is a seasoned DARPA person. Seasoned. From project managers to all kinds of things. She's seasoned in that world. Seasoned. You understand? Even before I became a target individual, this woman was already in DARPA. When there were hundreds of people going to the bioethic committee meeting, saying, I'm a target individual, me and my young child. She was a DARPA. These people they don't give a damn. They're supposed to think, because this man looks a little bit, it's like, oh, he's a man, so that's trash. This woman is the same. But it could even be worse than this man. Somebody who a lot of her career was in this world. It's delusional. They play off perceptions and they want you to go with it. Today it's a woman, tomorrow is a man, tomorrow again is a woman, then it's clowns. But the stupidity of it all is crazy. And there's all like scientists, doctors, and because they want people who just like focus on the technology. Then they're gonna implement that onto people. That's when these entities like the Department of Defense can bring in other, or this Department of Defense start. Okay, we're gonna do that to people. That's how we're gonna develop this weapon system. Put it on the field. I have no doubt about it. But I'm not gonna be fooled that to think that now DARPA is this good entity because a woman is a director. That now they're protecting women and children because the director is a woman. It's retarded. When today there's women begging for help. Today they don't do the prefiat type of torture. But how come this happened when there was a man? And they're forcing me to have this nasty stimulation toward children. It's like, nah, girls. And you see, this would make me think of this woman who just got appointed for director. But in 2019, 2020, when I make my first videos, it was a man. They play these games that are pure retardation. No, man, woman as director, the tactics are the same. They are altering my brain and forcing me to have these disgusting pedophilia reactions because it's a weapon system. DARPA specializes in weaponizing technology. That's what the #1 goal is. DARPA works on the technology of the military, which means is weaponizing technology. It's not here investigating people. They are here tormenting people because it's a weapon system, meaning that they weaponize whatever technology they create. Maybe in the future, once it's done, it will change into something positive, but today it's still a weapon system. Today it's still be developing as a weapon system. And the weapon system is going to continue, so regardless if the director is a woman or a man, because this woman is the director of the most sophisticated agency that specializes in weaponizing technology. The latest, greatest weapon system. That's what she's part of. That's what she's been part of. And then after her, if it's a man, this man will be the director of the agency that weaponized technology. If it's a man-woman, that man-woman would be the director of an agency that weaponized technology for the military. They're not here protecting the humanity. No. They want to be a head of technology, a head of weapon technology specifically. And they contract these losers, these nothings, these bottom feeders, these third party, quadruple party, quadruple party contracted low life, nobody's. From the Department of Defense contracting them. And yes, the DOD, which DARPA is under, the DOD, the umbrella where DARPA is really falling right under them, is the entity as a whole that has issued pedophilia for NRO to DARPA child porn issues. Regardless of the director being a man or woman. The fuck? Like the agenda, even individual don't even matter. You think one single person changed the agenda of a whole entity like DARPA? And the goals of what they do? The goal is to create the most sophisticated weapon system in the world, which at this point is hijacking the brain and manipulating it in the degrading way. I want to say thank you to Dr. Robert Duncan. Apparently they found him dead. If it's true, I don't know. Maybe it's not, maybe it's true. But regardless, this man have done a lot. He died an honorable man, for sure. That is how I'd rather die. That's why I make this video. Dr. Robert wrote books about the tactics of this weapon system. How they manipulate the brain in this disgusting way, rewire the brain. He has pictures. This is Dr. Robert Duncan. This man here. Now I don't know if he's truly dead or not. I don't know if it's true.
That can pipe voices into an individual's head. And once you can do that, you can control them using neuro-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. And They used it, I believe, in the Gulf War to tell the enemy at that time, lay down your guns, this is Allah. Well, and then, I don't know if I'm going to get into this, but there's something called hyper game theory. How do you, they want to see if they can manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program. And they need to sample all cultures, language throughout the world to define the probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. So how do you control a brain? Most people don't believe that. Well, you can't control me. I have my own free will. There's no way you can get to my soul.
That is the man who's been writing books about target individual, talking to target individual, and truly made a big difference in me knowing what this is about. When he wrote a book like this that described I'm trying to.
This is a common breakdown tactic of belief systems and the human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds, and vice versa.
You understand? He wrote these books, and not too long ago in 2022, he was in a podcast, a popular one, by the way, saying things that kind of validated us.
Will carry any V2K. So they'll say, we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. I've heard all these stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government.
A massive government? What massive what's a massive government in your mind? DOD, the most massive government with the highest budget in the world, trillions of dollars. And they're supposed to make me think that it's this clowns, some losery of human being. These people are at war. No, they're just contracted to implement these things. They're just contracted to do these things. That's their job, it's their task. They come in all separate form. They get whatever incentive they get out of it. I'm sure financial incentives is what we're talking about. And that's the things they do. And it's funny right now, they were trying to have this battle where it's like, no, it's the CIA. No, the Department of Defense for sure is behind this. And I love the fact that this woman said it. But most importantly, I love the fact that there's validation that the Department of Defense has been working on technology to alter the mind for decades. Now, with that being said, do I think the FBI can be involved in this? Do I think the CIA can be involved? Of course, especially the CIA. My gosh, they probably are the architectures of it all, but they don't have the funds to do what the Department of Defense can do. To have this massive government behind you. That's why everywhere you go, it can happen to you. Whatever world you go in, it's global. You can be in Bulgaria, it's going to happen to you. You can be in New Zealand, it's going to happen to everywhere in the world. It's over. And that's because this massive government is the one doing this thing. Not this retard living next door to you. Now, is the FBI involved? I'm sure. This entities are all connected. If these retards are involved, do you think the FBI will not be involved? So of course I know, but they're not the one in charge. If I go in the middle of nowhere in Africa, you think FBI is there? No, but guess who can be there? The Department of Defense. This woman describes
working for the Defense Department. She worked on the global mapping of that system. And when I told her what I was going through, all she could say was, "You're on your own." Well, I figured that out. If you would please, I urge you to pass this. I realize you can't enforce it. But if you would pass it, it might give other communities the courage to do the same thing and show our Defense Department we are not the enemy. We are not to be attacked. We are not terrorists. Most of us are defenseless women.
she called out the Department of Defense because she's right. That's who's really behind these things. You know, these losers, because there was this BuzzFeed article calling out that this intelligence committee are filled with pedophiles. That out of all the entities, like the FBI and Homeland are a little bit better than the CIA. And so like, now we're FBI. You trust you nothing but bottom feeders working for Department of Defense. Your bottom feeders contracted in a, like the level of buffering between them and the fucking losers. But hey, don't get it twisted. The FBI is for sure aware of this and for sure even participating. If retards next door can participate, what? They use these losers. They're supposed to counter this reality.
Citizens in control of intelligent experiments. Is Shell Welsh telling the truth, or are her claims absurd? Just another conspiracy theory that's impossible to prove. Maybe. But not if you listen to Nick Bedge.
I think there's some good evidence that Cheryl Welsh and many of the other people I've spoken with have been victimized by this electromagnetic mind control experiments. The weapons of this century aren't bombs and bullets and ordnance, but electromagnetic energy targeting the human being, which is the greatest revolution in military affairs since gunpowder.
Bedge is an expert in government mind control. He is convinced the Pentagon has mastered a technology once thought to be science fiction. The ability to broadcast information directly into the human brain.
Our government began spending a lot of time looking at how to modify behaviors of human beings. Going back to the Korean War, in fact, in a publication, Low Intensity Conflict in Modern Technology, they have a chapter on electromagnetic weapon systems and being able to not just to debilitate someone, but actually even to stimulate certain activities within the brain. HARP is the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, which started as joint effort with the Air Force and Navy. This is a very large array or field of antennas based in Alaska, radio frequency antennas.
HARP antennas transmit powerful radio signals into the upper atmosphere to study the effects on wireless communications. But Beggar says HARP can also be used for more sinister ends.
HARP has announced several other programs and campaigns, and there's two areas that I got very concerned about. One was the weather modification application. The other was the effect on human beings. If you can modulate a signal that the brain locks onto, recognizes, and begins to mirror or follow the frequency following response. The brain rhythms change, then it creates a chemical cascade within the brain and emotions change. Now the resolution gets finer and finer and finer. And it used to just be about triggering emotions. You can change people's brain chemistry pretty readily, change their emotional state pretty easily. But when you get down to the idea of thoughts and being able to manipulate those, that requires a different kind of sophistication.
If you don't know, HARP is, as he described, it's just this land filled with antennas in Alaska. It's a location. HARP is a location. These losers are so trashy that now they call it. No, we're HARP. Like HARP is like an agency. HARP is not an agency. It's just a location. It's the name of the place where all these antennas are. And guess who's behind that? The ownership at one point was DARPA. Now, because of the controversial of it all, that DARPA will have those antennas and everything there, they now gave it to the Alaskan University, and they contract them if they need jobs to be done, needing to use that. And what's DARPA? The reason DARPA in size, they're small. There's only 200, apparently like 220, so some less than 300. Very small. It's an agency, meaning they're part of the government. It's not a company. Technology can start from there, can end up somewhere else, but is specifically an agency for the Department of Defense. Specifically about the technology and research development of weapons system. That is their first and number one goal. That's it. That's what they're tasked to do. That's their job to do. That's what they're getting paid to do. That's that. Now, if this turned into something else at the end, that's okay. But first and foremost, they're supposed to create weapon systems. This
and I think most secretive, most productive military agency in the world. And I kind of believe that before Advanced Research Projects Agency, a mouthful,
they added
the D for defense, but it is the most powerful, most secretive, most productive military agency in the world. And I kind of believe that before I wrote the book, most people had not heard of DARPA. I mean, I think, or at least when I was doing press for it, it was like shocking.
I think you're right on that.
So that's fascinating. And part of that has to do with DARPA likes the public perception of, that they do all these things for the good of humanity. And actually, we know from the declassified documents again, or actually this was not declassified, this was the statement by the first SecDef at the time, the SecDef at the time that the DARPA was created, Neil McElroy, an advertising executive who became the Secretary of Defense, he said, he went to Congress to get the funding, and he said, this agency is going to create the vast weapon systems of the future. That is what DARPA does. They are always 20 years ahead of anything that you or I know. So any technology that is like, what the hell was that I just saw and you're not supposed to have seen, that's DARPA.
They were doing Neuralink in the 90s, right?
They are always doing things 20.
All that's what they do. Weapon system. Now it can be changed to become something for civilian, but no. But initially, everything has a purpose to be weaponized, to be used as a weapon, to be weaponizing a weapon, it's specifically an agency that specializes in weaponry. Now, technological weaponry, but that's what they do. For example, what's official there, right? They've been working on brain connection with interfaces with computers, or BIC or something, brain interfacing computers or something like that, where you can control drone in your mind or something like that. Right? This is the things they talk about officially. They've been playing with the brain for a long time. They've been using different tactics to see how they can alter the brain and use brains and interface with the brain for a long time.
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day. human mind can be altered. In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior.
In the 60s.
In 1965, DARPA...
In the 60s, they've been working on this. So you know the weapon development aspect of things, it's coming from there. Now, who's implementing that? Of course, the DoD. They get their funding from DoD. Money goes to the DoD. DoD decide where the money's gonna go. They're supposed to make me think these are investigating researchers protecting trash ass. They rewired the brain, tormented this. Rest in peace, Robert Duncan. If you die, I don't know if he's really dead, but it seems like it would have been last month. He kept talking about, he had books, and I'm going to go through more of his books, where literally saying they can manipulate people almost like puppets. According to DARPA, he himself was a scientist at one point, working for these entities. And I know they can manipulate me in so surreal ways. My thought process are so disturbed. That's what they do with my thought process.
V2K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as
When she means perverted, she means this.
It's what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation, so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted.
She means this.
It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of it. Like, this disgusting thing. And you saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they.
You heard the word she was trying to say? Oh, the people she's talking about in the surroundings and whatnot. Yeah, those are the contracted trash. They clowns like that. They come in all shape or form. There's like childlike people, but there's even more childlike individuals.
You made with your finger. The dial phone. There was a true red phone that would be lighter. Perhaps the most important technological defense-born, system of the 20th century. Laser printers, laser surgery, laser eyes. And then you have laser weapons at the Pentagon, so classified I can't even get anywhere near that.
Really?
They're called directed energy weapons.
And how much do you know about them?
Direct energy, which the Pentagon, she's talking about DoD. Now, a lot of this technology will at one point get to the mainstream, but those are these entities behind this. The things that they hit us with as target individuals are technology that's surreal. what this woman is talking about here is not some just regular FBI thing. No. It comes from this Pentagon.
So, yesterday I went to the beach and drank a couple of beers and just sat down there after laying in bed and sobbing for 2 hours because the private parts of my body were being burned and my breasts and moved. And it's the trauma from it. It's not being able to cope with the pain and the emotional trauma that comes from someone harming me using, I guess, medical technology. It was my best guess. I went and saw a dermatologist.
This technology is coming from these governmental entities, Department of Defense related, that develop weapon system that is surreal, science fictional. These things done to her is done to her remotely. You think the FBI has a technology department that's no? Now, are they participating? For sure. They have losers like that participating. They're gonna do. So you know who's behind this. But you know what's disgusting is these losers they manipulate your brain these disgusting ways. And I don't care if it's a woman at the head of DARPA or man tomorrow, if a man or this is the truth of what's happening here.
It is secrets, potentially making this. The Defense Department releasing brand new details into an investigation involving child pornography and dozens of its workers and contractors, some with top-level security clearance. Not only are these very serious accusations, but investigators say some of the people involved were handling the nation's most sensitive secrets, potentially making this a matter of national security. Chief Fox Report correspondent Jonathan Hunt with the news. Appalling story, Jonathan. Do we know more about these people and their security clearances?
Well, we don't know their exact job titles, John, but what we do know is that they did appear to be working, some of them at high levels, across a range of government agencies. Take a look at this, for instance, the National Security Agency, the National Reconnaissance Office, and the very secretive Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
DARPA. Oh, that was back in 2007. 2019.
He has come under investigation for links to the proliferation of graphic material called searches are accessible by security if or when needed.
Even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this, it shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill attempts to essentially say, look, we're not doing enough to stop it from coming in.
Those two I just showed, they're not related. That was before what you saw about DARPA in 2007. This is 2019. Things got worse. And they think that I'm supposed to be like, now we're protecting kids because, look, it's a woman now. You see, it was a man before when this V2K thing started with me, this guy over here. Now it's a woman. So now we are. Now we protect women and children. This woman talking about her genitals being burnt. She was saying that last year. She's still saying that this year. When I was saying this here.
Don't let people
harassment, microculture, B2K abuse, and I'm asking you to help us end this crime against humanity. which has impacted men, women, children all around the world.
Hi, I'm Wan from Malaysia. My family are targeted individuals. We are victims of cyber torture. And I will not give up. I will fight to the end.
And I'm a victim of organized
We need this to
stalking,
stop.
electronic
That's it.
harassment, and I'm speaking to you on international.
There's a 2024 version of this. When I was doing this, when I was in this video, the first guy with the mask on, I guess it was this man in charge. But I know the reality, what this is about. It's simple. They are developing a weapon system. They're using this weapon system onto us to continuously develop, improve this weapon system and the tactics. Yes, the Department of Defense is definitely funding this. The DOD, that woman is right. That's this massive government that has the capability to do that. Or anywhere in the world. Now, with that being said, do I think other agencies are involved? Of course they're involved. Especially the CIA. But I'm not going to let these people live their fantasized reality. And I know that Robert Duncan has opened the eyes of many of us, so may he rest in peace. He died an honorable man. His death is not for nothing. When I heard him die, when I heard he died, which is true, if it's true or not, it will make sense. He spoke a lot. He said a lot of things. And they literally describing what they do to me. This is not the pedophilia type of torture they do.